my beautiful gemstones. Welcome to Thursday night's Chillax and Chat with myself, Gemma Jade, Ghostdragonzw, and the lovely Miss Paranormal Pixie, Lara. So there's three of you guys here now. Thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting us as always. The past 2 weeks has been pretty amazing because we kind of finally found our groove with the show, and Paranormal Pixie is going to be a permanent third. And I haven't received any emails from any of you guys that want to come on and maybe share some encounters or share your knowledge of spirit or whatever it is that you want to come on and share, as long as it's, YouTube rule friendly, we'll have you on. Lara's shaking her head in the background. She's like, yeah. So yeah, welcome everybody. I can't thank you enough for being here with us 2 nights in a row. Miss Lotus girl. She goes, ha ha ha, first one again. Had a rough day. I know, baby girl. You just relax in the background and take care of yourself. Andrew and Gnomes, Trucking, and Edna, hi. Nice. Lotus girl designed the color. That's my favorite color, the color on your trucks, actually. That's Kelly Green. That's my green, my last name. Ann Palmer, hello. Salvador, hi. Slow motion, welcome. Ghostdragonzw, fancy meeting you here. So guys, I'm going to bring the rest of the crew in, and then I want to talk to you guys about, really quickly, a gemstone that I got today that I'm super excited about, because I always tell you guys I'm learning right along with you. Hey, Mike Roberts. And I was really super duper excited about this one. Ralph and Cassie Francis, yes, eat snacks and relax. I am all about that, let me tell you. There was one more thing, and as usual, it just completely slipped my mind. All right, let me bring these guys in, and I'm sure it will return to me without further ado. Hello, sir.
How you doing, everybody?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi,
I'm going to try to switch this around for a second. Give me 1 sec. Here we go. Musical chairs. There we go. I knew how to do it. Oh my gosh, he's gone.
You made Dragon disappear.
Hey,
Yay.
Roger Blair, what is up? Hey, Kitty. Which one is that?
This is Kaylee.
Kaylee.
Yeah, my fluff muffin.
So cute. I wish I could have a cat right now, but my mom is not like she's not a pet person, but also right now she's renting, so you have to go by the rules of what the landlord says. So when I buy us that big house on the beach, we're gonna have cats. And Mom, if you're listening, you have to deal. I was watching her last night while I was doing the stream. She had washed and dried my comforter, and she was laying it out on the couch for me. And then this morning she made me breakfast, and I'm like, my mommy cooks me food. I appreciate her, and I think everyone should know that my mom is amazing, and I just love her. Ryan, hi. So guys, before we start paneling, there was something I really wanted to tell you guys, but it'll come back to me, I'm sure, in one rambling or another. So this is blue kyanite, and I've talked to you guys about this before. It usually comes, to the best of my knowledge and from my experience, in small pieces like this, but it's a super strong and very, very thin crystal. Now, I was watching something or listening to something that was talking about black kyanite, and I was like, whoa, what is black kyanite? So guys, I got 2 of these. Now it's very fragile. I don't know the exact type of crystal that this is. It's extremely fragile. So if I were to drop this, it would shatter into dust. But look how amazing that is. And apparently kyanite comes in all colors too. So it is authentic and real. And I got 2 pieces of it. It was the last 2 pieces from this company for $9.09, which is half of what I paid for this blue piece. Now, black kyanite, we were talking last week about grounding stones. This is said to be a really good grounding stone. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of black tourmaline. So I just want to read you guys the metaphysical properties. If any of you out there are looking for something like this, I'm going to be meditating with it before bed tonight after stream. So metaphysical healing properties that are beneficial for our physical, mental, and spiritual health. It can be used for healing, grounding, protection, energizing, meditation, manifestation, alignment, and repairs. High vibrations and its ability to not store negative energies make it one of a kind. It can be used to clear all blockages of energy and imbalances within the chakras by aligning, grounding, and centering the chakras. All of them, guys. With conscious effort, it will open all chakras. This gemstone can transmit and amplify high frequency energy, and it elevates the levels of good vibrations in one's energy fields. Black kyanite is considered great for receiving attunements, and it opens psychic channels by activating the mind center. It is a source of encouragement to the examination of oneself from every aspect, as it deepens our connection to both the physical and natural world. It creates an immensely powerful directional energy that can be used for different effects in different directions. Black kyanite stimulates root chakras and earth stars. The protective vibration from this gemstone keeps you safe during meditation. It is one of the great healers, as it possesses both grounding and energizing abilities within itself. Black kyanite is helpful in reducing pain, fever, and blood pressure, and helps to stabilize the adrenals. It helps in treating disorders of the brain, throat, and muscular system. It improves mental health. It comforts your parathyroid glands, adrenal glands, and urogenital system. It improves spiritual health. It helps in channeling, dream recall, vivid dreams, and visualization. It brings honesty and loyalty and reduces confusion and anger. It removes all kinds of negativity, and it increases your thinking ability and maintains your positive energy. Now, this is not something I could walk around with in my bra where I carry the rest of them, but I am going to get a little protective pouch for it and carry it around. I don't even know if I'd put it in my purse, maybe in like my pocket, or because I don't want it to crumble. Even if it did, I would still keep it and I would use it. But I don't want it to crumble. It's just so incredibly beautiful. And it actually, I've had it charging all day. And I just charged the charging plate. So it's pretty powerful. And I just want you guys to see it. And if you think, yeah, that like, wow, that crystal does a lot, guys, every crystal does so many things that, you just have to look it up. If you're looking for some kind of peace or alignment in your life, if you really work with the energy of the crystals, they will help you. You can put them out and make them, they can look really, really pretty. But if you're not accessing their power and their energy, you're really missing out. And it says she has some, they look like wings. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Guys, if you have any questions or something you want to say directly to Lara, that you want her to see, please put it in capital letters. If Stephen and I don't see it right away and like we don't respond to it, just keep putting it, because Lara does not have access to the screen right now.
Yeah,
and
I
therefore
can't see very well.
Yeah, that was my nice way of putting it. She's basically blind as a bat and she can't see, but she's not able to see what you guys are putting in chat, which is why she's not in there typing. So if you really have something you want to ask her or something you want to say, yeah. And Anna said she saw the spine doctor, a block, and he wants to biopsy the lump. I need some super healing crystals. And Edna,
we can do that.
I may be able to help you with that, actually. You guys hold down the fort. Let me get a pen and paper because I want to write that down so I don't forget. And I will be right back. Take it away.
I can write it down for you. I am the secretary.
Yeah.
I can't write that down.
I know, but I like to have it in front of me too.
I know.
So I don't have a very big piece of it right now, right next to me. I'll try and grab a bigger piece. Let's see if I can hold this up close enough where you can see it. So this is African bloodstone, and it's sort of an all-purpose healing stone that when I fell and started having spine issues, which I had to have surgery for, I started working with it, and it helped me considerably bring down the pain level to where I could tolerate it better, as well as inflammation relieving. Let's see, what were some of the other things that... So what it is, when you look at African bloodstone, you will see sometimes it will be all green, sometimes it'll be green with red. Those are jaspers that grow with quartz. So like this piece that I've got here is the one side of it is almost clear from the quartz, and then it's mostly green with a couple of red spots on it. I actually took a piece about this size and put it between my mattress and the mattress protector where my lower back is at. And um, I went from not being able to sleep at night at all because of the pain in my lower back to being able to fall asleep comfortably enough to sleep through the night. And this was before I had my back surgeries. My doctor also said that I was probably the fastest spinal surgery patient that he'd had as far as healing went. After surgery, he was impressed enough that he did not one but two spinal surgeries. I had what's called a hemilemonectomy, where they open up the vertebrae for the nerve bundles that run up and down either side of your spine. Um, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. It is a really good stone. Another one to look into, and Gemma and I can both speak to it, is Tibetan quartz. Now, Tibetan quartz, you will see, and I'll go get a piece of it to show you, will often have carbon inclusions in it. And it is one of the most powerful forms of quartz that you can find for healing of the both the sympathetic nervous system and the muscular tissue. This, like I say, last year, after with having these two surgeries, I wanted to give myself as much defense as I could, and so I actually spoke with my mentor, who is she is a professor in cultural anthropology and geology, as well as she teaches all of this kind of stuff. And so working with the Tibetan quartz, I mean, it's just been phenomenal. So, Gemma, why don't you talk a little bit about what you know about quartz, and I'll go grab that piece of Tibetan quartz.
So while I was doing that, and don't worry, guys, we're not gonna talk about back pain the whole night. But when one of the gemstones is hurting, we have to try to find a solution, right? So luckily, Lara knows much more about crystals off the top of her head than I do, and that's one of the reasons she's such an amazing addition to the show, is because she's doing everything that I'm doing, but she's years ahead of me because of how I turned everything off. So, and I'm going to send you what I call a crystal backpack, right, for your back, and some of my homemade bath salts and an herb pack. Okay. But the Tibetan quartz, yes, I don't actually know a lot about that. I have seen it. Yes, I have long nails again. So there you go. But clear quartz, carnelian, red jasper, selenite, rose quartz, smoky quartz, and Tibetan quartz. All of those with obviously instructions on how to use each one, where to put it. We have people in here that have healed themselves from severe and serious life-threatening diseases or problems in health issues that have used crystals, spirituality, nature, Mother Earth to pull themselves back to full health. Now, I am not a person who is, completely holistic, guys. I will take an Advil or something over the counter. I'll take Mucinex if I'm sick, but I am a person who hardly ever gets sick, no matter who's sick around me. And I think that's because I take super greens every morning. 2, I, try to take care of myself. Aside from the Red Bull, I don't have a lot of sugar and all that kind of stuff. But 3, I try to keep myself very aligned and in tune. And believe it or not, that does have a really major effect on our body and our system. Disease equals dis-ease. I see so many people who have cancer, and right where they have cancer, so say they have just for instance breast cancer, I'll look at them and tune into their attachments, and they will have one of those nasty, not like an attachment, like a trauma bond or something, but like an actual physical attachment feeding off of them in this region. And they have breast cancer, a brain tumor feeding off of them here. Back issues that are that severe, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't have, a Carl. And I don't have anything against the name. That's just what I call them, because another person who can also see them, who says she's the only person in the world that can see them, calls them a Carl. And I thought it was hilarious. So, okay. Go ahead, Miss Valera.
Yeah. No, let me just see if I can hold this up good enough that.
Oh, yeah, I have that.
Okay. So this is my Tibetan quartz that I work with on a daily basis. This particular one actually has both a twin on both ends. So where you've got two crystals that are literally growing side by side. And then it's got what's called a shaman's portal, which if I can't show it on this camera, it's not good enough for it. But if you looked at a crystal and you could see either a triangle or a well on one side of it, that the monks would say if it's big enough to hold a single drop of water and not drain out, that's considered a shaman's portal.
Wow.
Where that energy can be directed by whoever is working with it. So one of those wonderful useless facts that you
we love them here. That's what we're full of.
Yeah.
And, useless to most people, there's always one person that can use it,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's got to be about the individual.
But anyway, so, I've really enjoyed working with it, and you'll see it sometimes. This one is kind of cloudy, and it's got a couple of the little black spot inclusions in it. I've got this one that was my birthday gift to myself. That awesome. You can see is extremely clear on the one end. And this one also has a phantom. So if you hold it to the light and right up through here, if I had a better camera, you can see the shadow of another crystal point forming on the interior. And so they call that a phantom. And this one awesome. Also has another shaman's portal on it. For everyday well-being, there are so many various crystals and minerals out there that you can work with, and it doesn't have to just be for physical pain. It could be for emotional support.
I do a lot of
you see me with the amethyst on a lot. I find that it's, for me, very heart healing and supportive emotionally.
I do most of my crystal work is not for physical pain. Praise be, I don't have much physical pain or discomfort right now, especially for what I put my body through, but I'm good. But I have a lot of emotional healing. So when I look for crystals, or when something like really like the black kyanite, like for some reason, like I'll hear of a crystal and I'll put it in the back of my mind or write it down and look it up later. When someone on YouTube somewhere mentioned black kyanite, I was like, oh, I have to look it up right now and I need to order a piece immediately. That's when you're connecting with an energy and you need it in your life. And when I looked at the healing properties, it made perfect sense. So I don't even know that I've ever really used crystals for physical, healing, but like I said, I've seen people who have used them for that and who have, it was incredible watching the process. One of them was a course of over like 3 years, but it's just like with anything else, you have to stick to it and do other things. You can't just, put a crystal in your bra and be like, okay, this needs to heal me.
Right.
You have to be in that alignment. So moving on just a little bit, there's something that I heard of, that I heard today, and I'm always suggesting to you guys when it comes in, when I channel it, you know, you should do this, you should do that. Hey, Blue Crossroads, Vixen Doe, Sandra Heath, hi. Anyone else that I didn't see come in there? So I was listening to one of the people that I watch on YouTube who reads tarot, and he was saying that when we journal, we can journal that, you know, what happened throughout our day, and, you know, how normal people would regularly journal. And it's really good to get that out. But if you're really trying to manifest something, start journaling as though you already had it. So for instance, if you are trying to manifest your soulmate, you will journal like, I went to the park today and I met, you know, Steven, and this is what Steven looks like, and this is Steven's interests, and this is what Steven and I talked about. And then the next day, oh, I saw Steven again. And then, you know, for however much time you want it to be, it's like, now Steven and I are in love, and Steven and I are getting married. And journal like as if, which obviously, like, it makes perfect sense, but I just never considered it. It's kind of what I'm doing with my manifestation, the written manifestation exercises, but like to a whole other level. And I can't wait to try it. I'm just saying that much.
Oh, absolutely. I'm in agreement with you as far as that goes. You know, journaling, like you say, does not have to just be, you know, this was my day, or this is what my day I think is going to be tomorrow. This is what I see the best version of my day.
Right. Write down what your best day is, if it really were your best day.
Exactly.
It's just, it amazes me, the concept, because it's so simple. And I'm like, how did I not think of that?
It's also a great way to open a conversation with your spirit guides, whether it be spirit guides, ancestors, angels, to sit down in your journal and write them a letter. Write it out as you were going to put it in the mail and send it to someone. Because the way you would speak to somebody when you're writing a letter, your thoughts flow more easily. You're more open about your passions and dreams. And you'd be amazed, especially if you did that in the evening, how maybe overnight you'll either have dreams or ideas that will come to you that when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, hey, I have this idea now, that they've been able to communicate back to you through your dreams, through your rest period.
So I often,
another idea.
Jules, I'm going to answer your question. And Lara, I didn't mean to interrupt you if I did. I have to get used to letting others talk. So as we know, we've been doing pretty good. So that doesn't occur to me what is it called? Suggest that people do that, because for someone like me who like can literally see them there if I wanted to and just be like, hey, it doesn't, I forget
it's not
that,
first thing.
Right. I forget that other people can't just be like, hey, can we talk and like talk, you know? And even me, my life's a mess and I can do that, but I'm just opening up to it. I feel like had I not closed myself off and been working with everything that I can do, everything I'm able to do, and everything that I want to be able to do for like my whole life, I think I would be, you know, obviously I'd be like 30 years ahead, but I'm not. So I like that too, though, because I'm learning with you guys. You guys teach me just as much as I teach you. And for the people that trust me enough to come to me and say like, hey, can we talk? I have this going on. Like, you're coming to me and you're trusting that what I'm going to tell you is the truth, or, you know, I'll tell you when it's my opinion. I'll tell you where it's coming from. And to be a respected and trusted member of this community, both as a viewer and as a creator, means so much to me. You guys just, I can't even describe it. So Jules has a question. I'm going to take a knock at it. Stephen, you might know something about this. And Lara, you too. I want to give Stephen some FaceTime too, because us girls could girl talk all night.
That's all right. I don't mind listening to the ramblings of lovely ladies.
So Jules wants to know, Jules, I have to say this because it's been coming in ever since you changed your name. And I'm like, I don't want to say that because that's not really my opinion, but it's not my opinion. It's a message coming in for you that's been happening since the moment you did that. The Savage Daughter, I understand why you did it. And it actually sounds really cool. But when you put a label like that on yourself, you might actually end up disconnecting from yourself and you're calling yourself savage, and the universe doesn't understand irony or sarcasm, or so you may be putting a label on yourself that could hurt you. And this is not coming from me. I didn't even want to give you this message because I thought it was ridiculous, and I think Savage Daughter sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But I can't
Right.
ignore it anymore. It just keeps coming and coming and coming to me. So obviously you don't have to change it. I think it sounds awesome, but a message coming in from spirit to you is, watch what you label yourself so that you don't become that thing. Okay. We are what we believe we are. We are who we say we are. So with that out of the way, finally, because I think it's been like 2 weeks and I had that whole hour and a half conversation with you face to face. And it's like, I had to just get it out. So Jules wants to know, can anyone tell me if attachments can jump? Here's my experience. Okay. Certain ones can jump. Now, I've only seen it happen a couple of times though. So I see, like, if a person passes and they have a lot of attachments, some of the attachments will see something they like in someone that's around. That's why some people are fearful of being in the room when someone passes, or not opening a window. That's why people cover, it could just be partially superstition that we've kind of created. But some of them will, if they find something that's giving them what they need more. And the one example I can think of is a client that I had where he was in addiction and he had an addiction demon. Once he cleaned himself up, the little daughter got a new imaginary friend. Okay. So why was he an addiction demon? And I think this happened on Dead Files too, actually. So I've actually seen it twice, once in real life, where this demon, and it's not actually a demon, it's just for lack of a better word. So this thing attached to the little girl because it was like nice, innocent. I'm going to influence her to do terrible things now. The wife had back surgery on the show, and she was taking prescription painkillers. She wasn't addicted, but she would have been had Amy not come in and was like,
it was pushing.
Right. You have to stop taking them completely, no matter how much pain you're in, because this thing is lurking around. And addiction demons like that, they don't force us to use, but they will, what's the word? It's such a simple
They'll draw off that energy.
Yeah. And they'll influence
and
us.
then they keep pulling that energy
to make worse and worse and worse decisions.
They like to play puppeteer a lot.
We die. Yeah, they'll influence us. And then when we die, they do have the ability to, and I don't know how this works, to take souls every once in a while. Okay.
And they can do that.
So for the most part, though, all right, I don't see it often happen that an attachment, as far as like a physical entity that we all have that are attached to us, that we build up throughout our lifetime, I don't normally see them jumping. Okay. Unless it's something like the attachment is there because it's being fed, drugs, and then the drugs aren't there anymore. So it moves on to something else. So as long as it's being fed, there's no reason for it to really move on to anything else. The attachments aren't usually demonic. So they're not looking to, they're not like looking for innocence or looking for, what a demonic entity would be. They're simply there feasting off of, your lower vibrational energy. So for the most part, as far as what I know, and if you guys know different or have seen different, obviously feel free to weigh in on that. But that was a really good question. Stephen, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, let me say hello to Max Steel and Batmom. The Batmom. Actually, yeah, they can move from person to person. When they find that one person is often
Batmom
getting control back, they'll move on to something, usually within the house. Sometimes it's an animal, sometimes it's a child. I've seen it happen many times. Usually it's a child, but I have seen it a lot with animals because they're easier or more influenced. Um, but yeah, they can jump there, and Gemma pretty much nailed some of that right on the nose. You just got to be careful because they're not always what they appear to be either. So you got to be careful because some of them may look like they're big and bad or come off as big and bad, and they're really not. So you got to really kind of keep your eyes focused on what's going on because that will tell you a lot.
It's great that, just as you're saying that, my clairaudience is going off on this side. I'm getting this really solid tone in my ear because you're speaking the truth.
Yeah.
It, like Gemma said, it's an extremely rare occurrence.
Yes.
However, one does need to be careful,
Yeah. Just be
and
aware.
watch for those signs and symptoms. And the other side of that is not to live in fear of, okay, now that I know that such a thing is possible, I can't go walking around every day being afraid that this is going to happen, because then that is opening yourself up to the possibility of them feeding off of that.
Because it's lowering
And
your frequency.
it's lowering your frequency. It's basically, think of it as, I've flipped my light switch that is normally this pretty white light to, oh, now it's a great big green light saying, I'm scared. Hello, I'm scared.
Fear is one of
And you
the
don't want to do
worst
that.
energies that we can feel. I say it to you guys all the time. When you come from a place of fear, it's one of the worst things you could do, but it's the most common thing that we all do. I told you guys, I really opened up. I always open up to you guys. I'm an open book for you, because I want you to be able to relate to me and know that, I'm the same as you. We all have different experiences. The human experience is the same though, right? We're all trapped in these human bodies in this human life. But I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, funny thing is, a lot of people, you got to understand, once you can't really control fear, but once
I
you
remember now.
understand it, you find that it can be helpful because fear is what gets those little body motions going to even save your life. If there wasn't fear there and you were playing dumb and you're like, I'm not afraid of this.
Yeah,
it
but
can
that's
actually cause you more
adrenaline
harm.
though.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying.
No, you're totally right in one way, but I
Yeah,
have
I'm
a
just
different
saying.
issue where I don't have a fear or panic response.
So I don't either.
Unless
takes a
it
lot.
comes to like my kids or my mom. Like I just don't have it. Like it doesn't matter literally what happens. I'm one of those people where like if someone died or some tragedy happened and I was there and I called the police, they'd be like, they'd convict me because they'd be like, she was way too calm. She showed no emotion. And I get afraid of that. I watch these shows and I'm like, I wouldn't panic if you
I've
have to
been
keep
there.
calm in an emergency. Do you know what I'm saying?
I've
But I
been
was
there.
thinking
I
about
have been
fear.
there.
What I was going to say
Yeah.
was, I told you guys that I always thought that the reason I didn't really push my business when I had the chance, and the reason that I kind of been, the first year that I was on YouTube, I was kind of lazy and like whatever. It wasn't because I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of succeeding. And I realize that now because I had been told, I was always told my whole life, you're so smart. You should be a model. You're going to go far in life. And then when I became an addict, everyone was like, what? Like, what? And then it always put this pressure on me to like, do well, be the hero child, do well, do well. Not with everyone in my family, but for the most part. And they didn't realize that's what they were doing. But then when I didn't succeed at those things that everyone expected me to, I felt like a failure, and it turned into a fear of success. New Englander, Rhodey, I need to talk to you, bro. Probably not tomorrow, probably Monday or Tuesday though, because I want to send out your package. Smoochie says, I'm just like that too, Gemma.
I just I'm pretty much like you, Gemma. It's funny because I don't react the way people expect me to react a lot of times, and always like, doesn't this bother you? It's like when my mom passed. I didn't cry. I was there. I was right there. I watched the whole thing go down. But I didn't cry to the funeral. And then my brother goes, "You're finally crying?" I go, "Yeah, but I'm not crying for mom. I'm crying for dad." Dad's not, I was more worried about dad than, and that was the only time I cried to the whole thing. But I react kind of calm. But then again, she'll tell you I'm so calm about everything majority of the time, unless I'm hurting.
I was just talking about the fear response, like
Yeah, so I'm just saying,
like
it's
in general, when you were talking about like the adrenaline pumping and things like that, like that's definitely true. But as far as approaching things in our life, right?
right.
We don't want to not take that job across the country. That's our dream job. That's going to pay
Right.
us, the exact amount of money more than what we've been hoping to make and working towards, because we got this amazing. We don't want to not take that promotion because New Jersey's been my home my whole life. I can't live in Washington. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh my gosh. And go by myself too. That's so scary. We have to work on turning those thoughts around, and it's
You know,
not easy. That's
the
why
f-
I recommend the manifestation journal, because
the
you're writing the exact
Yeah.
opposite of your natural response. The
it's amazing.
fear comes from ego, guys.
It's amazing because it's funny because really the fear of growth is more common than the fear of failing.
Right.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, until you realize that, though, it's like you're stuck in it. When it dawned on me, I'm like, oh my God. And then now I'm like, screw that. And I really tried to, Stephen, I've been sitting in front of my computer writing, working on my channel, on a couple other projects, on missing persons mysteries, literally from the time I wake up to either the time I stream or till the time I go to bed. If I'm not doing that, I'm helping my mom like go grocery shopping and do those types of things. I have done nothing since the 13th of January but work and take care of RJ and sleep a little bit. And you know what? A part of me is like, this sucks. But the other part of me is like, yes, like I am doing it. People are recognizing me, and maybe I'll always be a channel that has 3,000 subscribers, but I'm okay with that
Right.
because the people I've connected with have changed my life so drastically and dramatically. I'm good with that because I've got other things going on. This channel is secondary as far as money. It helps, but I always thought like, okay, I'm going to be this big YouTuber. And I don't know how I thought that, because I make such close personal connections with people that I think to be that big is not going, I don't want to put it out there that it's not possible, because it is, but I think it's going to be a lot harder for someone like me because I want to connect with everybody. So if I had 1 million subscribers, I can't possibly connect personally with that many people, and I like the connections I make. I like when I'm feeling like crap, I can message Lara and say, you know what, I just need to vent. Or a Lotus girl, like, don't bother texting back, but here's 7 pages of me venting to you. And you guys can do it back to me, Do you charge for 3 days, Lara and Gemma and Ghosty? What does that mean?
Do you charge? I think your stones. I all the
Oh,
stones that gems that Gemma has sent me.
Stevens,
Sorry,
please stop calling
I'm
me.
sorry. I'm sorry. It's for some reason in my brain.
No, she said, do you charge for 3 days?
I'm
I think
wondering
she's
if
meaning how long she's
you charge
to
your
charge her crystals.
gems. Yeah.
Oh, I'm like,
I always wait until the full moon, and I just put them all in front of the moon.
So I will literally put mine on a selenite plate. I mean, I've got a little piece of selenite
that's what I was just
also in
gonna
a
say.
dish
Yep.
that I'll just overnight I'll throw my rings, for instance. I'll throw them in there with this little piece of selenite, and that overnight is enough to both charge and cleanse whatever jewelry I've been wearing.
I do the
If
exact
you
same
want,
thing.
yeah, if you want to give it a lot more oomph, then sure. Certain crystals, um, you can charge them overnight in the moonlight, during full moon. Um, there are certain crystals now, and selenite's one of them. You really want to be careful with like sitting in a windowsill for very long, or outside for very long, because it is so sensitive to humidity. I was actually talking with my other mentor, Sarah, and she said she had one of the selenite towers. It looks like a almost a wedding cake cathedral kind of thing that
Yep.
she had put in her windowsill because she was on travel and it was the only place she could put it. And the humidity made it looked like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Okay, because it was starting to slump from the humidity. It was
See, I didn't
melting,
know that
basically.
either.
Yeah.
Luckily, I live in a
So
haunted house, and where all my crystals are is like the most haunted room. So it's usually pretty cold. But it's funny because I was about to say, too, I totally agree with you. I take the selenite plate when I can remember that it's a full moon. I really don't live like when I lived, when Ray and I lived together in the other house, we were so far off the street that I could put my crystals out. Here, it's not a bad area or anything, but it's much more public. People can just walk by the house on the sidewalk. And I really
yeah.
am possessive of my anything that's on my altar. So I use the selenite plate a lot and for most of it. So I've got to get a few more because I find myself having to recharge the plate or at least cleanse the plate like every
Yes.
couple of days. But I was doing exactly that with the kyanite that I just got today. And I do it for 24 hours for something smaller. If I'm going to, if I want to charge something bigger, like, I have this large amethyst obelisk, something like that, I might go like 48 hours. But I don't get crazy with it because even when I work with them, I try to put energy back into them. But you really should be cleansing. If you use a crystal every day for 7 days, it's going to, the energy is going to be completely zapped from it and you're going to have to recharge it. Amethyst is your birthstone. That means you're this month then. Slow motion
Yeah.
said, I like that there is a small core group here. It feels like a group of friends chatting. That's exactly my point. That I didn't mean for that to happen, but I think subconsciously I did mean for that to happen. And I love it. Yes,
And it's what we
Fiji's
needed.
on sale. I'm sorry. See, he said, oh, it's Fiji. It's the good stuff. I said, yeah, it was on sale. 2 for $5.
Nice. Nice. Hold on just a second. Kaylee, what are you doing?
She's playing.
Yeah, what,
Max
Mama?
Scott says,
Yeah,
I
what,
love
Mama?
listening to Gemma talk for some reason. A lot of people say that. Yeah. I got a piece of, where is it? Here it is. It's actually one of my favorite of my smaller pieces. One of you guys sent this to me. Lara, it might have been you. Someone sent this to me.
Yes,
Picasso
that's one of the
Jasper.
ones I sent you. Uh-huh.
So here's a nice stone with lines. I love, listen, Picasso Jasper, the, what is it called? It's like one-eyed, thousand-eyed Jasper, zebra Jasper, all of the
Yeah.
Jaspers, all the little
There's
shapes in
leopard
it.
jasper.
And Kimbaba Jasper is my absolute favorite because it has the green in it. And I'm like, I love green. But yeah, it's really about like, you can, once you start learning about crystals, you might start, get a collection. I get a lot of them in bulk so that I can send you guys the best possible stuff. Like sometimes I send out some of my favorite pieces because I know you guys need it more. But otherwise, I'll get a bulk of really good tumbles, beautiful tumbles, so that I can send you guys, a lot more stuff. But once you start learning about crystals, number one, be careful because it can become an addiction, as it has for me, an obsession. But number two, like what happened with me in the black kyanite, you may just see amethyst when you're reading something, or blue apatite when you're reading something, and then all of a sudden, you see labradorite, and you can't stop thinking of that word, labradorite, labradorite, labradorite. You're connecting with the energy of that crystal, and you should probably pick some up, and that's this one.
Mm-hmm.
I brought Damien a full crystal labradorite. It looked just like this, but it was a smoking pipe. For show, guys, of course. But it was really nice because it was fully carved. And it looked just like this, but it had like the little thing for the mesh in it. So they're making those out of pure crystal now too. Literally anything. This is, every piece I pick up, I'm like, this is one of my favorite pieces. But I really do like the jasper, the Thousand Eye jasper, the zebra jasper, and this is Picasso jasper. This was from Miss Lara.
Yeah, one of my favorites that I've talking about addictions. This is sardonyx.
Ooh. What is it
And
called?
so sardonyx. Sardonyx.
Oh,
Okay. And so you can see lots of waves. See if I can get it up to the camera just a little bit better. Focus.
that is gorgeous.
So there's one piece, and then I've got this piece. And so sardonyx, it's obviously by its color, closely associated with the sacral and root chakra. And for passion in all its forms and inspiration and
Ooh.
that, that fire down below, that whether it doesn't have to be sexual, sensual passion, it can be creativity,
Just passion. Yeah.
passion for life. And I had realized that I was lacking a couple of years back, and I think we all were to some extent. But with this one, I really love just it. It feels grounding.
It is
There are
gorgeous.
some stones that when you pick them up, you almost feel like you want to just sit cross-legged down on the ground, on the earth, in the grass.
That's how I felt with the black kyanite the second I touched it.
Holding this stone, for me, that's what I feel, is I feel that connection to earth. But I also, just like its colors imply, feel that fiery passion and creativity, an explosion of creativity, like volcano, like lava. And that's what it reminds me of, is that hot, fiery lava flow of passion. And so I will, when I get out my art supplies, a lot of times I'll have a piece of it with me while I'm thinking about what I'm going to do and meditate on it. I really, like I said, I absolutely love this one. Some sardonyx, you will see, I've got a piece over there I can't reach, that the ripples and waves in it, it may be have more white lines to it, which is the quartz. Or it may be that it's got more, I believe it's magnesium. I'd have to look at it in my book to be sure.
I'm just
But
looking at pieces of it. It's
the
just gorgeous.
reddish orange, it'll get really dark, almost tree brown rings to it. So the piece I've got sitting over on the shelf, the bottom of it looks like you're looking at the rings of a tree. I love it.
Yeah, strength and courage energies of carnelian, but the grounding and protecting energies of onyx.
Mm-hmm.
It is gorgeous. I love, like I said, the stones like that have like the little, there's like shapes in them, and you can, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I got a new one the other day. I think I showed you guys. It's where is it? Here it is. The Seftonite, Seftonite. And I kind of just came across it. It looks a little bit like the Dragon's Blood Jasper, but it has gray instead of green. And I haven't worked with it yet, but I go into the crystal shop and I just walk in front of the tumbles and I'm like, okay, come to me. And I'll pick like 4 or 5. The one really cool one that I got is this one. I think I showed you guys this one too. And this is the grape agate, right?
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
it. It looks like a line of grapes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you know why
Gorgeous.
they named it that. And it's kind of honestly like an ugly stone, but the energy about it is absolutely fantastic. Um, what about you guys? Any questions? Your moon water is out at my squatch altar in backyard charging up. Yeah, I've been making moon water. I don't only make full moon water though. Like sometimes if you guys are going through something and I'm sending you a spray, full moon water is really good to use. But if you're trying to accomplish something else with the manifestation and intention sprays, that's why I call them that. I might use waning moon water or waxing moon water, so there are all different types of that. Grape agate. I think it's grape seed agate, or is it grape agate?
I think it's just grape agate,
That's
but
what, yeah.
I'm betting that you'll probably see it both ways depending on what website and stuff you
Oh,
go to.
oh no, I dropped it. So this is that was a piece, and this is a tumbled piece. So
Oh,
like
pretty.
it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
This feels tumbled too, but it's just they're both the exact same thing. But I kind of like
Mm-hmm.
how it looks like a grapevine there.
Yeah.
But I'm obsessed with the black kyanite. I cannot wait to use it, guys.
Yeah, guys, ask questions.
Hey
Put them in
Nick.
capital, please. I want to see what you guys got to say. Anybody? Any questions?
Okay, Carly, I definitely will.
Hi, Crowley.
Slow motion says, and I don't know, but Lara or Steven might. Slow motion says, I have a couple of ancient fossils. Do you think they give off anything?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything that's alive or dead does will put off energy. So you never
Right.
know what
And you have to
kind.
consider those fossils that is, let me get my mouth to work right. Those are minerals that have over time replaced
Yep.
whatever organic matter was in that spot. So, one of the things that I'm addicted to looking at pictures of these days is ammonite fossils. Okay, so they're the spiral shell sea creatures, and there's this one uh, collector that a lot of the ammonite fossils he finds, the fossil itself is pyrite. So, over all the years, it's been replaced with pyrite. Sometimes you'll see agatized, so it'll be various agates that have replaced the biological material. So not only do you have the energy of the being, um, because all living beings leave an imprint of some kind. It may be faint, it may be strong, but then you have the energy signatures of whatever minerals have replaced that creature. Does that
That's
make sense?
just, yeah. That's just like Gemma sent me the petrified wood.
Oh yeah, I
See,
love working with that.
that
Yeah.
is like really good stuff to work with, from what I've understood. Now, you guys know more about the gemstones than I do. I just pick up the stuff, just pick up the feelings and stuff like that. It's like I said, I don't even know how to charge mine, so I just pretty much put mine out in the moon every time the
Yeah,
moon's
And that's
out,
the way. That's the way to do. I'll
that's
and
send
that's
you
what
a
I do.
selenite
fine. Yeah.
um, plate. Vixen Doe, you're welcome. And Mike Roberts says the fact that the fossils were preserved makes them special. There's got to be a reason for it. I absolutely agree.
Great,
So
that's a good.
Crowley says, interesting question. I don't know if he's saying his own question is interesting or if it's. I saved stones I found in the Southwest hiking. Did I choose them for any specific purpose? If they're stones and not rocks, right? I
Well,
mean,
even those, I mean, because you're looking at the geology. So, it could
that's true.
be that it's shale, or it could be that it's basalt, or it could be that it's quartzite, or, any number of things. your natural predisposition as a human is to move towards vibrations that are either that you are in need of or are in alignment with. And so when you see a stone that any other person would just walk by and say, that, appeals to me, or, I'm fascinated with it. I don't know why.
You're picking
It's
it up for a
because
reason.
there is a reason there that is likely on an energetic level, you are aligning with that item.
Well, that's what I was trying to say as far as like being attracted to crystals. Like if you go into, see, I order online when I'm drawn, right? So I'll just be looking, I'll look up selenite and then I'll look for a little bit and then Amazon will recommend something else and I'll keep going. But every once in a while I see something that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. But when I walk into the crystal store, I can just look at, 100 different types of crystals. And all of the sudden, I'm just like a magnet to one. Now, unfortunately, the only crystal shop I have near me, and pretty much, I haven't seen many of them in New Jersey anymore, but is East Meets West. And they have gorgeous stones and they have a ton of stuff. But I paid about $9 for this.
That's
That's a lot. They're ridiculously overpriced. Like this would be
Really?
probably about $8. They're very expensive. So whereas I can get a 3-pack of black sage at, off Amazon or at even Spencer's for $9.99, East Meets West wants $7.99 for one small thing of black sage. I get it. But it, metaphysical items. But when you start connecting and you start really feeling like I need to have that, or like if you're walking, like I need to pick that up, there is a reason for it. Because like Lara said, it's like your energy is attracting to its energy as something it needs. Oh, BLT, lucky. Moldavite, first time I ever heard of that. Yeah, so I got beautiful Moldavite earrings from Aunt Edna. And Lotus Girl sent me this. So this is the Moldavite. I wear this necklace more often than any other necklace. And I have the citrine. And I was saying I always have the lapis ring, which Lotus Girl also sent me. And then the snakeskin jasper, another jasper, right? The one that I wear on my wrist the most. So Moldavite is super rare to get it that when it's real. And it's also super, super powerful. So the one night I was wearing the fully charged, because I just charged the Moldavite earrings with the fully charged necklace. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was having trouble breathing and my ears were really flushed. And I was like really hyped up because the energy was just, and it wasn't in a bad way. It was just affecting me like a lot. They call it actually the Moldavite flush. Now, synthetic and or man-made crystals doesn't necessarily mean that they won't work.
Exactly.
I don't really know how that works. I'm pretty sure it's just all about energy and, I really don't know, but I know that I heard from a shaman one time that, the person had suggested that one of the crystals I was wearing, this was a long time ago. I remember having like one crystal ring. It was like opal or something. And they had suggested that it was not real. And I got a little offended because I had paid a lot of money for it. And I was like, of course it's real. And they're like, that doesn't mean it's not working. But I don't remember why they said that was the case. Hey, Nutslap. Hey, anyone else I missed?
So
Hi, Nick.
with something like that's man-made, a diamond is a really good example. Everybody knows what a diamond is. It is compressed carbon. When it's man-made, the only difference is that has been created in a much shorter, much higher compression and heat for the man-made one. With the natural diamond, what you're looking at energetically is the fact that it has taken millions of years to be created. So not only are you dealing with the chemical composition, the natural composition of the diamond itself, and the energy and vibrations that that gives off, but you have everything that has occurred on our planet during that timeline that it has been in existence, that it has imprinted is the word I want to use. I don't think it's quite the right word, but
Embedded.
it has received those, yeah, embedded in that. I wish I had my quartz. I wonder if I've got it in here. There. So yeah, I've got my Lemurian quartz here. So this is a pink Lemurian double terminated point. Okay, and it's hard to see on this camera, but if you look, there are hundreds of teeny tiny little lines, and each one of those lines is a growth mark. And you're
Oh,
talking, 1,000 years, 1,000 years, 1,000 years, 1,000 years. So over all of the time period, this thing has been around to pick up and absorb, transmute, and disperse those energies. And so it's just like picking up an antique. You pick up the brand new Maserati, you've got the antique Maserati, and the new one. They both have their same energy, but the old one, there's something about all the history that it's seen. So its vibration is a little different. I hope that makes some sense to
no, it definitely
everybody in there.
does. And I love that you call him Grandpappy. I just
Oh,
think that is incredibly adorable. And I'm not mocking you in any way. I really do think it's adorable. Max Stacks was talking about his pull toward the gemstone opal. And I've told this story before. Okay, nuts, I pulled that thought. So when I was little, I used to have these seizures, and there was one that I had that was really bad. And I remember seeing a light in the corner of the room, and the light spoke to me, and I thought it was like angels. And the light said, you're going to be okay, mommy, just relax. And I was only like 6. So I remember thinking like, it's telling me, my mom, to tell me to relax. I didn't know what was going on.
right.
But my son Kyle was delayed in speaking. He was like 3.5 when he said his first words. He should just point to stuff and go, and then I would get it for him. And something had happened, and I was upset and crying. And his first words were, "It's okay, mommy, just relax." And it was the same voice that had come from the light in the corner of the room when I was 6 years old. So my attraction to the opal stone, I'm a March Pisces, March 1st. So I'm aquamarine, but he is in October Scorpio. And I just always, like my first earrings were, I chose opal, and that one ring I had opal. And I still to this day love the way opal looks. It's Damien's birthstone as well, but he's an October Libra. And yeah, Nutslap wants to know where he can get one of those stones and what the name of it is again.
Which one? The one I just showed?
Yeah, with the rings on it, or the.
Okay, so you are going to want to look for, let me get my brain to engage. This is Lemurian. So like the island, Lemuria. Lemurian quartz crystal.
Or Lemurian seed. I've showed that to you
Or
guys
Lemurian
before.
seed, yeah. So a lot of times, yeah, you'll see like that. See how yours you can see better because you've got a better camera. Tip it back just a little bit, and you can see those lines are growth lines
Yep.
of the crystal
I didn't know that.
over the thousands of years.
And
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. And again, not to interrupt you, but I didn't realize you were talking about this crystal. This was a gift from Be Kind. So she noticed it too. When I hold this crystal and I start putting my intention into it, it gets very, very hot to the touch. Now, I've used this only a handful of times. I've worked with it. I've meditated with it and pulled its energy, usually on Wednesday nights before I stream, when I'll say, like, this is the crystal we're working with. It's usually the crystal or crystals I had just channeled and opened up with and meditated with. So anyway, this, I can see them all over. It's crazy. But also about this, look at these little things that are kind of like coming off the side there.
Babies. This one's even got one.
Yeah, when I got this, it was not cracked. So I just want to explain, that's not a flaw, guys. When you have a crystal like this, especially, these are said to hold the actual secrets of Lemuria. They put these energetic secrets of their life and how they lived in peace and harmony and all of it into these crystals. And as long as you have an authentic one, you should be able to pull on that Lemurian energy. This is probably one of, if not the strongest crystal that I have, but it's cracking. And Smoochie, I told you I'd send you the piece when it falls off. It's cracking because as I use it and pull from the energy and give it my energy, it's opening up, it's releasing. Nutslap, I could probably find you a piece of this. They sell very small pieces. But like I said, Be Kind sent this to me as a gift. And I just, when I saw it was cracking, I was like, yes, you know, it's crazy. I wish you guys could see. You probably can't because of my light, but if you look, I can really see all of those little lines you were talking about. And I didn't notice it before.
Right. Yeah. So one of the other things that I can tell you about, one, the knowledge that I've gained over this last probably 14, 16 months, as far as crystals, crystal healing, working with minerals, all of that, is through a business called Sage Goddess.
That's what.
And it's sagegoddess.com. And I normally wouldn't like plug somebody else's business for something like this.
Nope, absolutely.
But in this particular case, Athena, who she's the teacher I was talking about. I spent the last year getting certified as a crystal master, crystal healer, doing all of that work with her because all of the products that she uses, that she has in her shop online, you can go to her website, fantastic.
I got this one as well.
Are all ethically sourced. And when I say that, I mean, she will literally, like, for instance, she went to Tibet, to the village where the miners are at that mined these crystals and picked them out from the people, from the village, all on her own. So I know that from start to finish, I know exactly where this came from, how it was mined, how it's been treated. The energy, you know, fair trade is a common term you'll hear. Is it a fair trade item? Has it been ethically sourced? Are these people being paid a living wage for what they're digging out of the ground? And to me, that matters. That matters a lot.
No, it absolutely
and
does.
knowing that somewhere on the other side of the world, this was in the hands of a caring individual who took it from the ground and it made its way to me means a lot. And so it may be a bit more expensive, but even so, I think that, like, for instance, this piece of Tibetan quartz cost me $30, which in today's market,
that's really not that bad, though.
The last 2.5 years is not bad at all, because you got to figure that it also had to be shipped all the way around the world.
Well,
to
yeah,
get
that's
to.
what I was gonna say. First
So
of all, I don't know her personally, but first of all, with Sage Goddess, I don't really sell crystals. I put crystals in what I do sell. Like when I pick up things, and this is important that I explain this, and I do want to get back to Sage Goddess. The stuff that I put in the boxes, that's extra stuff. The rest of the stuff is stuff that I make, like the bath salts. I'm moving into lotion a little bit. Some of the candles, the sprays mainly, the roller bottles, all the extra stuff is not stuff you guys are actually paying for. So people are like, you bought that in the store. And I'm like, yes, because it's a thank you from me to you. It's not what you guys are paying for. You guys are paying for my product that I
it's a
home make
gift.
and shipping. Now, with Sage Goddess, that piece of Lemurian seed crystal that I just showed you guys, and the piece of rainbow obsidian, or Phoenix obsidian, whichever you want to call it, came from Sage Goddess, and it came to me through Be Kind, who for the rainbow obsidian, I had a big chunk of it on a necklace, kind of shaped in a heart. I didn't know why I got it. It was too bulky for me to wear. It looked more like a man's necklace. So my son, who at the time I hadn't seen in 13 years, came to my house for dinner, and he came upstairs and he was looking at my altar. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I love that." And I was like, "That's why I got it." I gave it to him, but I still wanted to get myself a piece because I knew I needed to work with it. And then 2 days later, out of the clear blue sky, Be Kind is like, "Hey, I sent you a $50 gift certificate to Sage Goddess." So for that really big piece of Phoenix obsidian, $50. I think the shipping was $17, which isn't bad. The Lemurian seed crystal was a gift.
Yes.
I don't know what you paid for it, but I'm sure from Sage Goddess. So Sage Goddess is really the only place online. I do buy things from Amazon, but with Amazon, I have to be really careful because I have to see where it's coming from, make sure it's certified. And with Sage Goddess, you can kind of just go in there and, like you said, you do know that it's ethically sourced, that it's coming, you feel good about the purchase. And you know what you're
Absolutely.
going to get. And like I said, I
Yeah.
don't know her personally, but I do really like that site. Max Stacks didn't know I sold stuff. That's because I was gifted money for a website back in the summer. And someone said, "I can do it. Look, I did mine. Look how awesome it looks. And I can do it for cheaper." They then took the money I paid them, and I've never heard from them since. I tried to go to Wix to see if they would do something to get the website up and moving, and I would find a way to do the rest. And they were like, now instead of X amount, it's $1,000 more, which it was like a week later. So then I had that issue. Then I have people that are like, "Yeah, I can do that for you." And I'm like, "Awesome. What do you need me to pay you?" And they're like, "Marry me, have dinner with me, let me smell your feet." So now I'm dealing with that type of stuff. And meanwhile, the person that gifted me the money has not asked me a single question about it, has been so incredibly kind and patient. And I sell so many things that I make with my own hands, that I charm, that I put so much effort into. One medium-sized box that I would send you guys takes me probably an hour and a half to make, and that's not including what I, put together on the stove a week before, or the moon water that I've been making. So information on that, GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. Cowie Snyder and anyone else that came in, what is up? You can always cleanse it and ask for forgiveness if it's not ethically sourced. Well, here's the thing about that, right? With asking for forgiveness, it doesn't really work like that, where like you're doing something wrong and then you ask for forgiveness, because then the asking for forgiveness kind of cancels out and isn't genuine. I can keep going on. Max, you would think, Max says, "Smell my feet, you are so funny." You would think I was kidding. But the actual reason I do not use Facebook Messenger is because of so many people's obsession with my feet. Which, by the way, I'm a Pisces. I hate feet. Like, I don't even like looking at my own feet when I wash them in the shower. So, yes.
Yeah, she has this long stick with a broom at the end
I
of
wish.
it.
I have this thing that I clean the bathtub with that I'm like thinking about using for my feet. I just don't like feet. I think they're gross.
Some people like that.
People pay good money for feet pictures. One time I did sell a pair of view socks for $300, but that was in my past life, and I'm not going to go there. I'm just not. So, guys, I was looking at the Dragon Path Oracle deck that I pulled out last night, that Ghostdragonzw recommended me to read for Ralph, and I did a reading for myself, and it was actually really, really good. I have so many decks, but they're still boxed up from moving and trying to set everything up here. There was another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, just kind of, in passing. Darling Deb, you have no idea. So,
And I apologize in advance if the camera bounces. This is Buster.
hi, Buster.
My husband belongs to Buster. My husband is in Arizona for a week.
Okay.
So Buster is being extra needy.
That's okay.
So if the camera all of a sudden bounces, yeah.
Gemma Jade and Gemma Jade Oracle's channel forgives all cats. Cats get a free pass on this channel. Ann Palmer says, I was here and wrenched the creep that wanted to smell Gemma's feet. Okay, thank you. So it's not just me.
Good for you.
So I was getting ready for stream. I was putting my face on and putting on my girl boss shirt. And I was just looking on YouTube for something to listen to. And I saw that Lifetime Movie Network has a new show where this dude is regressing people into their past lives to try to help them with issues that they're dealing with now. It's a pretty good show. And I was super duper excited about it. There's only 2 episodes so far, but I didn't like it because each person, like you see like 4 minutes of regression, like each person gets like 8 minutes of screen time. And I'm like, I have been obsessed with past life regression probably since I was about 9 years old. I have no idea where the regression or where the obsession comes in. I've always wanted to be regressed. It's one of like my main goals as far as my spiritual journey. I know it's something that I have to do, as well as see a Reiki master, get cords cut, and get an energy healing. And those are on my, bucket list of spirituality. But there's not anyone like in my area, like because right now technically I live in the Jersey Shore. I'm 9 minutes away from Seaside Heights. There's always like the boardwalk people, which by the way, some of those women are really good. A friend of mine was telling me a story about how she was on the boardwalk with I think she was with one of her friends, or she might've been with her mom. So either way, the friend says to her, they had been going to see the same lady several times a summer. Every time they'd come on vacation, they'd go to the same boardwalk psychic, and she was amazing and she was the real deal. So maybe I'll open up my shop there. I mean, I don't know. Anything's possible. It would be awesome right there on the boardwalk. So anyway, the friend says to her, are we going to go see Madame Marie? And my friend was like, yeah, let's do that. And the friend goes, yeah, but I want her to do it, not her mother. So they walk. They're about Wildwood is 3.5 a boardwalk. It's the longest in New Jersey besides Atlantic City. So Seaside is probably 1.5 miles. They were at one end. So they're walking all the way to this Madame Marie or whatever her name was. They go in, and instead of greeting them with a hug and a little cheek to cheek, Madame Marie looks pissed. And my friend's like, is everything okay? And the mother comes out and she's like, just so you know, I've been doing this longer than her. So you want her? Go ahead and have her. But I'm just as good. They were 1.5 miles away. Do you know what I'm saying? There was no way. And she really believed in it. And she was, got her really excited and really into it. And when her son, who's a very good friend of mine, I would call him my brother, because I have half sisters, and my half sisters have half brothers and step brothers. I don't have any. So I claimed all of theirs, right? I have a giant family. So this one passed away right around the 4th of July 2 years ago. And my friend was absolutely devastated, and another person in chat that used to come in here, she ended up being a Judas, but she came in and she said, who is, this person whose name begins with a J, and he's showing me brother, but not really. And she's like, he's kind of laughing and having fun with you. And I sent this to his mom, and it was just such a great relief and a great comfort for her. And it's one of the things that made me say, wow, I can do that for people.
Right.
There was someone that used to come in here and she would constantly ask, and I was just getting into it. And I was so scared that I was going to get it wrong. And I kept putting her off. And the lady finally was like, I'm not saying anything mean to you. She said, but it does make you look bad when you make plans to speak with me and do this, and then you don't. And I was like, you're right. I'm so sorry. And I think she lost faith in me She
Right.
started coming around again, and she's such a pure spirit. I just wasn't ready at the time because I was started doing it, and I said something to someone. I'm like, yeah, they're wearing a pink shirt, and the person's like, nope, you're wrong, you're a fake. They were wearing a purple shirt at that time, and I'm like, okay, it was like a lavenderish. I couldn't tell, and it was like, nope, you're a fake, you're a fraud. I want my money back, and it really pulled me into like where I'm terrified to do that. What if I say Katie and the person's name is
Yeah.
Kate? People get really picky about that kind of stuff. So if you guys were wondering, a lot of people have asked me why I don't channel loved ones. I'm just not ready yet. But I'm coming more out of my shell with it. You have to understand, I hang around dead people all day. I love dead people. I prefer them to the living. I sit there and I have various conversations. The other day I was watching, I meant to tell you guys this, and I'm not going to hog the rest of the stream, but my back is itching. That's what I'm doing. So I'm watching this show, and I never say names, but there were these two celebrities, and they were huge celebrities in the 90s. And they were, I'll say they were rappers, and both of their murders are still unsolved. So you guys probably know, most of you, who it is.
Yeah.
One of them appears in my room while I'm watching this show. And I am starstruck, number one. This is not the first time this has happened. And number two, I'm like, dude, what are you doing in my room? Like, and I know that like if someone else were there, they would be like, who the F are you? Like, what are you doing? And this is the type of stuff that makes me, it's funny, but it's not, because it makes me kind of recoil from being out in public. He was like, yeah, you got to tell it. And I'm like, I don't go to the police, dude. And he's like, oh yeah, no snitching, no snitching. And I'm just like, is this real life? Like, is this really happen? Like, am I awake? But it showed me that my I don't like to call it powers, my abilities are coming back full force and strong when it comes to the communication. So hang tight for any of you guys who have ever asked me for something like that. And I hope you understand why I don't. I'm very fearful. One more thing I'll say, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys, is I did a walkthrough of a house once. And I was like, it's really weird because I'm getting A, B, C, and D. This is here. I said, but it's like, it's not here. It's like it was either here before. I'm like, there's something wrong. And I really felt bad about myself. I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? And they're like, wrong. There's nothing actually with this house. It's the house next door you were picking up. I'm like, does that make me wrong though? Because you tricked me and put me in the wrong house? I'm not 100% right all the time. But most of the time I am. And that's because the information is coming from the deceased, not from me. So those are the type of things that I've had happen to me, besides, as we've discussed, being looked at like, I'm something, like people recoil from me when I'm like, oh, by the way, your grandma's here and she said that, but me, when you see me, like if you ever see me alone, like when I'm chilling out in my room, eating my rice pudding, watching TV, I have several dead people hanging out with me and I'm cool with it. That's just who I am. And I've come to love that part of me. But as far as like being a medium for other people, I'm really
sorry, my Nana just stepped in. Whenever my grandmother, Nana, steps in, she used to take her hand and she would do this down the side of my head.
And then you just feel it?
As a way to comfort. And I can feel it when she steps in.
Can you see like I
don't physically see. I don't physically see. I see with my inner eye. And so I actually, it wasn't too long ago, I was doing a practice session, doing a reading. And the way I describe it is, it's as though I'm having a recollection of a memory that doesn't belong to me. So it will be all of a sudden, gosh, I'm getting this idea of a person standing next to a Christmas tree and their hair is gold and it's curly and I'll be able to describe what I'm seeing, and I might have other sensations. I might have other clairs that step in. Of, gosh, I think it must have been a Scotch pine, because I'm getting that really specific scent of pine. And so to me, not I've only ever physically seen a spirit twice that I know of. Um, but I can sense them. I can tell you a great example is when I used to be members of the local Elks Lodge, the Benevolent Fraternal Order of Elks here in Los Alamos. And we were closing up the building. I was secretary at the time and was there with the guy that was treasurer. And we walked into the lodge room, and he knew that I was a sensitive and was mostly comfortable with it. And I said, "So, who is the guy that used to sit in this corner?" And let's see, he was about 5'9". He's real heavy set, kind of balding on top, loved wearing plaid shirts, but he always liked to sit in this corner. And of course, I watched all the color drain out of his face. And he turned to me and told me, "Oh, that was Bob Muldoon that sat in that corner. That was he was a member of the lodge for 50 years.
Oh, wow.
He'd only passed away about a year before I started as a member." And I said, "Well, all I know is that this is the picture I get in my head of him still sitting in that corner when the lodge meetings are going on, and he's smiling." And so it was his way of letting the treasurer that I was talking to know that, "Hey, I'm okay. I'm
Right.
happy. I'm still here. I'm still checking in on things. I'm still doing the same
I
old
have some
thing that
questions for
made
you when
me
you're done.
happy." So I mean, that's just one of many instances that I have. I could relate to you if you ever want to know about it. So
I
yeah.
have some questions because I don't normally meet people. Guys, I am not gonna I'm not gonna get into a Biggie Pac thing. I'm from the East Coast. I think Biggie had amazing beats and Pac's beats were weird, but I think Pac's lyrics were way better. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Now that's all I'm gonna say about it. All right. But I was starstruck. But I want to ask you and Steven. I think I've asked Steven this, but I don't think the whole stream knows. The one thing I want to say, and sometimes people, like I said in chat, Lara can't see it, just catch a glimpse. People who are not mediums and have no ability, psychic ability, they're definitely sensitive if they can see it at all. We'll catch a glimpse here and there of a spirit, a solid looking spirit or a spirit looking spirit, right? But when you're seeing things regularly, that's when you may be having some abilities that you know might want to work with. I know you've blocked yourself off, and I do worry about you for that. Lara, now when I see, okay, so let's take this person who appeared in my room the other day. He was
Mhm.
full blown there. I see with my eyes solid. Now I can also sense, like when I'm doing energy, like energy work channeling for the readings, that's mainly energy. I don't usually see people coming in. When
Right.
you see in your mind's eye. I think Steven's like me where he can do both, but can you kind of explain, like, for me, if I didn't have abilities, I would think, how do you know you're not just imagining it then?
So
I know you're not. I'm just asking
yeah.
for people who
Oh
may
no, I know. I
have that
totally get that.
question.
So Sarah would say, discernment. It's you need to take the time to learn, is this thought mine? Ask yourself that internal conversation. Where did this come from? And trust the information you get. We have been taught as a society from early childhood to shut the door on natural abilities that everyone has to varying
Absolutely.
degrees. Each person's um, talent can be in, different areas. It may be that I, I'm more claircognizant. She's more clairvoyant. He's more clairsentient. That these different
I'm
ways of
just nuts.
perceiving energy, living, deceased, natural, man-made, or just slightly variant, and learning to perceive them and trust that that is genuine. That's been my whole journey the last 2.5 years.
Right.
I had spent 30 years living in a scientifically based town where being able
Big
to
time too.
nurture that spiritual, metaphysical, psychic side of myself, I've been page by page closing that book. And I finally, when COVID hit, the big C said enough, because I had been getting visions, messages, dreams about the whole thing happening, no details of exactly what was happening, that it was the big P word all around the world,
Right.
but it was that it was going to be something that affected society worldwide, that it was going to be uh, both emotional and physical stress on our society, on our individuality, but it was also going to open up how we communicate with each other. It was going to open up people to um, other possibilities, such as being able to make connections and new friends that live across the country that I don't know where you've been all my life, but I'm glad I found you. Um, it's, gosh, I'm trying to find the right words. Um, Learning self-confidence. And
That's a big
sometimes
part of
it's as
it. Yeah,
simple
I
as
agree.
finding someone, and just one person that you trust, that you're comfortable with, that you can practice with, that you can say, okay, I'm going to sit down with you and think about what your day was like without you telling me what your day was like. And I will tell you what I'm thinking, tell you what I'm receiving, feeling, hearing, smelling. And then you can tell me what your day was like. And okay, that was all right. I get it. I get it. Sorry.
I
I
don't know
just
what's happening.
watched I just watched my telescoping uh phone holder go up and down and then back up and back down, and it's gravity driven. So, okay.
Oh,
Anyway, so but having somebody that you can talk to, that you are comfortable with, whether it's a family member, a friend, a stranger that maybe you're taking an online class with,
that's Steve
and
and
you can
I.
say, "This is the information I'm perceiving. Is it right? Is it wrong?" And there's no judgment. It
Stephen, I'm
makes
sorry.
a world of difference. Stephen, yeah, what?
And I think I already know the answer to this, and we may have talked about it. And Crowley, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I have a lot of dark days, but as long as I don't get high, I'm all right. And I do have you guys for that. You guys help me with that
She
more,
knows. She
more
don't
than
want to
you
be
even
boo
know.
booing. She boo boos. I'm going to be on her like fly
There
on
is no boo
Christmas.
boo with the drug I was using.
I
The way
know,
I was
but you
using
know
it,
what I
I'd be
mean.
gone.
Yeah.
That would be
You
the
know
end
what
of
I
me
mean.
and the end of everything
Even
I've
that
worked for.
thought. Well,
But so Lara, says she's more claircognizant, more of, and she just explained in a
clear
really
thinker.
good way, actually, because I understood a lot of that, how she knows the difference between am I imagining this like just because I want it so bad, right? Like
Right.
I want, some people really want to be, a medium. They really want, and really, I think anybody can learn to do it. You don't have to be born a medium. You really don't. You can. It
Yeah.
would take you a long time and a lot of focus and practice, but you can do it. And anyone can sit and communicate with a spirit if you do it the right way. Like I was telling you, Nutslap, most mediums don't live very long lives, because ones like me anyway, where I'm just hanging out with the dead, because no matter how great they are and no matter how much I enjoy them and no matter how much they light me up, they are still taking my energy in order to be with me. So Stephen, with me seeing physically with my eyes, appearing like I'm sitting there on my bed, I'm eating my food, I'm watching TV, and then bam, dude is in my room, full bodied apparition, but floating, like I wasn't going to know he's a ghost, like Biggie's just came to my house. How do you perceive it? Like, I know you're probably both like me, but which one is more for you? Like, what do you perceive first when there's a spirit in room with you, an actual person spirit, not just their energy? What do you perceive first?
I see them. I usually see a shadow first, and then I call it my focusing. As I kind of watch and observe, they start to come into focus. Sometimes they come in real clear. Sometimes they come in a little hazy. Sometimes they stay the shadow. That's how I know which is which. A lot of times, what I'm seeing, friend, foe, or not of this earth kind of thing. Um, but I that's how I usually perceive everything. But I also will get a real tense feeling or ringing in my ears. I have that with a lot of people I know. There's certain people I know that I know they're either stressed or they're thinking about me. My ears will just go.
Well, I know you're like that with me. I'll get a message randomly like, I know you're sleeping, but what's wrong?
Yeah, I get this real ringing
and
in
I'm
my
having a
ears.
nightmare,
Yeah, and then I perceive things what I call naturally. It just happens. I I have seen some weird stuff. I'm like Gemma. When I see weird stuff, I see weird stuff. I always see the most unusual things. I've seen creatures crawling on 6 legs.
Oh, me too.
I've seen some odd ones.
Yeah, I've seen
And
actually
sometimes,
floating
like,
eyeballs.
when they try to when it's like a spirit who may be a little more scared of why you're there, like especially when I do walkthroughs, I'm there to tell the people, and I haven't done them in a while. I say when I do them, as though I'm still doing them. Nobody's asked me, but when I do them, it's the spirits sometimes will know that they've been causing mischief or doing whatever they're doing, and some of them will be scared that I'm going to force them out or tell the occupants. Usually, I just collect them and hang out with them, get them through whatever they're going through, like they're freaking therapists, and then move them along. So they'll try to present themselves as this gigantic fanged demon with big horns, but the thing is, once you were human. Demons were never human. So you're human, you do have a light. Your spirit has the light, the soul. They can't hide it. So there's always like that little golden glow or somewhere in there. You know what I mean? Where you can perceive, if you look hard enough, that this is not, a demon from hell. And I don't even like using those words, but I'm a Christian. That's just what pops into my head. Crowley, my ringer is almost always off, and when I'm sleeping, it is definitely off. So I have a hard enough time sleeping. I had a question for you, Lara, that I wanted to ask. Oh, have you ever, speaking of celebrity visits, that was the first one I'd gotten in a really, really long time, and it was so random. It's like, it always shocks me when I'm just like, someone's just like, hi. And I'm just like, oh, hey, a new person's added to the room, you want some ice cream? I don't know. Like, what do you do? So, but this was very shocking because his energy was as massive as he was. And he was just like there. Have you ever gotten a celebrity visit?
Celebrity visit myself? No, I have not. But on the other hand of that, I've been to places where I could feel the energy of the person. Um, so, like you were talking about doing a walkthrough. Um, when I was in my early 20s, I had a friend she was having trouble sleeping. She said, she walks into her bedroom, it feels really heavy to her. She wasn't sure what was going on and asked me to come over. The main part of their house felt just fine. And I walk in, and it literally, as soon as I stepped through the threshold, the best way to equate it to me was like somebody had taken a wet wool blanket and thrown it over my head. So
Really?
I could feel the weight. I could feel that stifling. It was the air was thick, like you were breathing through wet cloth. And with stepping back out of the doorway, it would go away. And so I said, okay, let's do some deeper digging. Let's go deeper on this. When did it start? Have you brought in any new objects? Whose room was this? We were able to trace it back to that this house was in their family, and it was her grandmother's. So that particular room, it was her grandmother's, and apparently Grandma was not thrilled with her granddaughter, and what she was doing. So it all had to do with her making peace with grandmother and talking to her directly. I said, because I can't see her, but I can feel her, and I could feel that um, that same feeling you would get as a child when Grandma says, "What have you been doing?"
When she middle names you, right?
Exactly, uses the full name. And when we sat down and talked about it, and she realized that, okay, the kind of person that she'd been seeing was one that her grandmother definitely wouldn't approve of. And, I sat down and I said, just have a talk with her. Treat it as though she's sitting in the room,
People
because you
don't
know what?
realize
She
it's
is.
that simple
It's
sometimes.
that simple. And it's I now understand it, and it's in part thanks to my husband working in the science field for 30 years, that there is so much that exists outside of our visual range. What we see is only I think it's less than 5% of the
Yeah.
whole spectrum is the
All
visual
you
spectrum that
normie
we see.
muggles out there.
There's all of this out here in the rainbow that exists, but the humans, they can see this much.
Yep.
Just a
And
tiny
so
bit.
explaining to her that her energy, the essence of who that woman was, is still there and still cares about her and is still looking out for her. And to just sit down and have a conversation with her, just like you could see her physically. And she said it made night and day difference. Now, that's not always going to be the case,
Right.
but in this case, it was.
A lot of the time, and we're going to end in a couple minutes, but you hit on such a great point, because sometimes I've had to recommend, and this was really hard. Like, people would call me back, and I've seen it on the Dead Files too, because it's the only show that I watch where I can relate to her. I know what she, like, the things she's seen. So I'm like, I've never seen this happen before. Bam, I see it on Dead Files. I'm like, awesome. But where people would call me back and be like, I can't find someone who's going to do this. So to find an actual therapist who's willing to have a therapy session or a marriage counseling session or some kind of like something with a dead person. And unless the client does that, they're going to continue to be in trouble, because the dead person needs to process through some things. And sometimes I can't collect them. And sometimes, honestly, don't want to because I'm not a therapist and I can't. And Edna says, holy crap, I almost forgot to tell you guys, I saw an owl, broad daylight, sitting on a tree right in the 4-way road. I was picking up the Jeep. And Edna, unfortunately, we have to end, but I'm wondering if, because I still have to do yoga and shadow work, I'm wondering if I still wonder about you with the abductions. And I feel so bad that we were never able to connect on that. I was sending you back emails, but you weren't getting them. I really, really think that you're dealing with all of this extreme physical pain, these things happening to you. You have abilities that you're shutting out because you feel like it might be causing the pain, from what I understand, or you don't care that it's causing pain. You can't deal with it, one or the other. But I believe that everybody has abilities. I'm going to try to make this quick. But I believe that people like myself, like Lara, like Steven, like a lot of you who can see, medium ability, whatever the ability is, kind of like to the extreme where like the conditioning didn't work. The societal conditioning didn't work on us. I believe we have some other type of blood in us. So when I say I'm only human, at least halfway, I'm being facetious, but I'm actually being serious. So I don't know if it's Fae blood, extraterrestrial blood, what it is. The fact that you see owls in broad daylight, and this is not the first time, the fact that you feel so connected to the bird, and the fact that you've had other experiences with them, on top of the pain and on top of the abilities, I do really have to wonder if you're being abducted and you're not understanding that that's what's happening, or because you've blocked off everything else, the screen memories or the wiping is very effective on you because you're susceptible to it because you're already blocking everything else out. I want to figure out a way that maybe I can have a face-to-face with you one day and really try to get to the bottom of what's happening with you, because there's a lot there. And again, I think with you already blocking everything else off, your mind is completely open to being wiped or screened. I have a rare blood type. My kid's Rh negative. That's exactly what I mean. So yeah. Rh negative usually does mean extraterrestrial, but it doesn't have to. All right, guys, I'm going to bring you all out. I want to get my yoga on. I'm over here doing yoga stretches in the chair. It's about that time. Lara, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us again. I really hope that you keep back. I'm sorry that sometimes we talk over each other, but I think we just both have so much knowledge that we just want to give out to you guys. And I just love you so much. I think you're a beautiful human being, a beautiful soul. And I'm so happy to have you a part of this panel, because now we have 3. So technically it's a panel, and I'm excited about that. So I'm going to bring you out, bring Steven out, and then I'm going to end the stream. So whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
Sending love and light to everyone. I'm Edna. The other thing I want you to do, because my grandmother is back here doing this again, is I want you to look into as well the meaning behind owls as spirit animals. Okay. And meditate on that. Yeah. See, for myself, one of my spirit animals is raven. And so oftentimes I'll have ravens visit me in droves when they're trying to get me to pay attention. So that's something else I think you should look into. And when you see me in other streams, of course, you can hit me up. Plus, you can find me. Easiest way, really, if you do Instagram, is to find me on Instagram, Lara Sandling Bennett. Follow me there. You can message me through Instagram. We can even do a face-to-face video chat. If there's any questions that any of you have, I'll do my very best to try to help you with it. That's what I'm here for. That's like Gemma. I'm on the same journey.
Yes.
I just kind of delayed mine a little bit. But I'm here to be the teacher, be the healer, be the psychic, be the medium, and help others on their journey.
The teacher.
And so, sure. If I can do that, I'm happy to do so. So, sending love and light.
Lara, I'll talk to you later, baby. Love you. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
I love her. Her energy is just so, it's so much like mine, but so different too. Like she just has so much to give and put out there, and she just wants to do nothing more than literally help. And I just love that about her. And she reminds me of how I'm going to be when I'm just a little bit older. I'm sorry you were a ghost tonight. The girls had a lot to say, but you
I
need to
don't
start
mind.
jumping in more. Lara and I, well, I interrupt her more than she does me, but we both kind of are waiting for our turn to talk. And when we see that moment, we jump in. You need to
Actually,
jump
I
in.
was
They're
just
not going to be
learning.
mad at you.
Oh, no, no, no. Sometimes I think I'd like, you guys get going and I learn a
Paris, thank
lot
you.
too. So, if I want to say something, I'm going to say it.
I hope so because
Yeah.
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Sometimes I
Like,
just
I'm
like
just
to
going to
listen.
leave because I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, we
I
need
didn't
you
say,
here.
I just said I was a kind of a ghost tonight because I was listening and
I was going to address the smoke, but Blue Crossroads did first. So Handsome Pops is smoking a cigar, and I was
yes.
going to bring it to the end and address it. But why don't you say goodnight, and then I'm going to bring everyone out with my
Good night,
usual
everybody, and
spiel.
have a good weekend, and we'll see you Wednesday. Good night.
Yes. All right, everybody. It's just me and you. Oh, darling Deb, you are just so sweet, and Jules, you are a beautiful soul, and that's what we're going to work on with the healing box that I sent you. I put a lot of cute little gifts in there, but I put a lot of really serious stuff in there too. I gave you an offering mix with a herbal spell to use. I gave you black sage, palo santo, I mean, I hooked you up, and the reason I did that is because we need to bring you in, like Lara was talking about, of like your confidence in your abilities, because right now you're so blocked and clogged, and I think so many of us are like that. And I know that that's my journey and that that's my path. My spirit animals, my main one, I believe, is an owl, a monkey, a lion, and I've even heard a frog. Okay, but if you go by Native American astrology, I'm actually the wolf, which I don't know how the Pisces is the wolf, but okay. um so yeah, guys. Hey, AK Willie, anyone that I missed that I didn't say hi to, guys, thank you for joining me on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You'll have your pre-recorded of more high strangeness. This one is pretty strange, let me tell you. If you have any questions for me, if you want a personal reading, if you want information on the metaphysical products that I hand make, handcraft, and sell, you can hit me up. And for anything else, if you have encounters, if you want to come on Thursday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, you don't have to be on video. You can do audio only. There's no download for you. It's free for you, and we'd love to have you. You don't have to stay for the whole time. If you have any questions that you want us to answer, any of that, please email me at GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. Guys, thank you so much for coming out and hanging out and being absolutely awesome. And as always, making my whole week, last night, tonight. I just love being here with you guys. I'm so tired, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this stream. And then I get here and I'm just like raring to go. So thank you guys for lending me your energy. If I've been doing personal readings face to face, but I've also been doing spiritual chats, people just coming to me with, do I have an attachment? Can you, because I can look at you and I can see it. And I want to help as many people as I can while also making this my job so I don't have to waitress anymore. Please don't put me back to waitressing. I love you guys. If you need anything and it's humanly possible for me to do it, I will. And Edna, please, I think you have my phone number. If you're comfortable texting me, I'm going to be busy through the whole weekend, but come Monday, I would like to talk to you a little bit. And I am going to send you a care package, whether you like it or not. So, know what? What happened? What did I do? Oh, going back to waitressing? I was like, what did I do? No, Lyra's mad at me. Yeah, Blue Crossroads, great point. Paranormal Pixie, Lara, there are also 3D objects, beings that exist in this plane, but outside of our visual spectrum. Guys, that made me immediately think of shadow entities, and I know that's not what they are, but they used to torment me as a child and try to get me to jump in front of buses and chew on wires. And Amy Ellen had the exact same problem, and several physical, I call myself a spiritual medium because I kind of all encompassing, have the same issue with them. And therefore they're like the only thing I fear besides the black-eyed kids, which of course I have to bring you guys to. My third book has been out for a while. I haven't really had the chance to promote it. Shadow Entities, Sleep Paralysis, and Beyond. And I'm working on Danger at Your Doorstep, Encounters with the Black-Eyed Kids, and I'm hoping to have it out mid-March, beginning of April. All right, guys, waitresses do matter, but I did it for 15 years, and I would rather do this. I'd rather put being a light worker to use, okay? All right, I tip really well, don't worry. Guys, love, light, many blessings, and hit me up if you need anything. See you Wednesday. See you Monday morning.